what happened to Munawar, what happened to Veerdas. Is it scary to be a comedian in India? After Aloo Tuk and Dal Pakwan, he is the pride of Sindhis. His hobbies are working in the corporate industry and going to nude beaches during his vacations. So, just to waste time and to massage his ego and make him feel good, in today's episode of the LINCIA ROSARIO Show, we have the talented stand-up comedian Atul Khatri.
Thank you, Lincia. I love that introduction. Yeah, never been to a nude beach, but thank you. Now that you mentioned it, I will definitely go to one. Yeah.
It's great to have you today.
Thank you so much. We've known each other for so many years. A decade, yeah. And finally, we get to meet Samne Samne, because usually we meet backstage. Yeah. Okay, bye, all the best, chal bye. You finish your show, chal. Because MCs, she's also a professional MC, and she does such a lovely job, and MCs do such a tough job of standing there in front of the client for 4 hours, 5 hours. We just come 30 minutes, do a gig and run away. But yeah, these guys hold the show together. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you, Atul. In fact, this is like the first time we are actually having a conversation.
Actually, yeah. Even though we met probably several times online, offline, everywhere. Yeah.
But it's good to see. What's been happening? 2 months you were out of the country.
Yes.
I had to chase you and get you on this show, and you were here. So, how was your show in the US?
So, I was 1 month in the US and then 1 month in Europe and UK, and both shows were both 2 months were very good. USA, being USA, so huge, too much travel and this and that, but Europe was much better. My wife also joined me, so it was like a holiday come shows, and that's really the best thing. You holiday and party from Monday to Friday, and then do your shows on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it was a great thing.
Majjanu life,
yeah,
right?
Majjanu life. And then, in fact, I was entire summers of India, I was abroad, and I came on 24th of June back in Mumbai, and it started pouring. So we never experienced at least this year, didn't experience the summer of Mumbai. Yeah, so that was good.
I wonder when your shows don't go well, or the jokes that you made they bomb.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
See, first is like, if one of your joke doesn't work, you understand, you have to, while on stage, while you're performing, you're understanding why it didn't work.
Right.
It worked somewhere else, didn't work here. Sometimes just the power dynamics in the room. Like I've seen sometimes like when you do a show and the CEO or the chairman of the company is sitting over there, and I'm on stage, every time I make a joke, I can see like, 800 pairs or how many number of people eyes are there, they all look at the CEO or that guy in the center. If he laughs or he claps, then they all clap. It's very, very...
Seriously?
Yeah.
You see that?
I can see that happening immediately. So I have this trick where I go on stage only and I tell people, okay, sir, you are the main guy. It's my appraisal happening right now. So please laugh. Because only when you laugh, all your guys are going to laugh. And it gets a laugh there also. So idea is to just do it. I touch what I do very well in corporate shows, because I'm myself from a corporate background. I understand their psycho. I understand their, how they are there. So I've been able to crack most of the corporate shows. And one thing you have to realize, in a corporate show, you're a comedian, you have a voice, but finally you have to toe the line. If they say no jokes on this, so you definitely don't do jokes on those particular topics when they tell you not to do that. So I think it's very important. But you all comedians have your bad nights. So on bad nights, when you have a really bad night, in spite of trying everything, it's not work, just go back to your room, eat dinner, drink chamomile tea and go to sleep.
I'm sure
and next morning it will go away. Probably the next show you can recover yourself. And that's a part of every artist. You also have shows where things just don't work for whatever reason. Those poor guys have taken a 5 o'clock morning flight, landed in Goa at 7 o'clock, and then put into a room in conference, and numbers being thrown on them. And in the night they say, chalo abhi nacho. Now is the gala dinner started and this and that, and they don't have the energy to do that. Yeah. So you have to realize that.
Because I can't remember the stand-up comedian, but in my earlier years, I remember we were doing a show and everybody was at the bar. Nobody was sitting for the show, and it was weird that the stand-up comedian was performing and there was no one.
See, when you open the bar, nothing else works. The bar is the biggest hierarchy in the corporate show. Even if the chairman is talking and the bar is open, they're all standing at the bar and drinking. Nobody will care a damn. you know. So sometimes just tweaking when you go on stage also as a comedian works. So for example, if there's a, if I see on the thing a chairman speech, this, in the last they put it, and I know that at that time the bar will have to be open because at 9 o'clock it's Goa. So I go and say, okay, please put me after the chairman because at least that time I will get attention.
Right.
You know, you get the dancers don't require that much. They can 50 dancers or a musician or a band. For them, it's okay if the bar is open because there are so many of them. Loud noise, farak hi nahi padta. One guy talking and 100 guys at the bar obviously makes a lot of difference. And I tell them very clearly, see, listen, you guys have paid me. I've already got my money. It's in the bank. I've come here. Now, for the make the show happen, you have to give me these basic things of people seated and the bar and food service to be stopped. Once you do that, they understand that you also mean, you know, there's honesty. You just don't want, you're not saying it for some ego, but because if they don't listen to you, they won't laugh. They won't understand what you're saying. So it's okay.
Yeah, now that I think of it. But we women, I'm sure men also feel the same, that when someone is funny, it's very alluring, right? How do we, I can't say that, how do we be funny? I'm like, how do you make being funny our cup of tea, our thing? Like, can everybody be funny?
Not everybody. It's something, first of all, you have to learn to take jokes on yourself very clearly. That is the most important thing. We comedians are such, we can sit in a room of 10 comedians, all 9 are making fun of you, and you also laugh at it because, you know, it is the truth somewhere. So you laugh at that. But suppose you guys start getting offended that, hey, how the hell do you, then you cannot be a comedian if you don't learn to take, because this is what happens sometimes. Trolls make joke, hey, tu buddha hai, and I say, dude, this joke I made like in 2nd standard, come on, you know, raise your game, you know. Oh, you have, they see my wife photo and 2 daughters, oh, you have 3 daughters, you buddha. I said, dude, this is a joke I only made, so why are you telling me my joke? You know, so please raise your own game. Or, you know, so it's typically you get, since I'm old, I get this Buddha jokes, I get this and
I
that.
get Buddhi jokes now.
Nah, shabash. So then you can imagine mere pe kya hota hai. So then, so yeah, it is like that. So you have to learn to take jokes on yourself, number one. Number, obviously, go, you know, you see more comedy, you see more, you know, read books on humor and things like that. You can make yourself a little bit funny, but it's somewhere down the line, it's inherent, I see. Because I read some book on comedy. There's a book called The Comedy Bible by Judy Carter, and there I read it after being into comedy, after getting into comedy. There it was that usually, you know, in your friend circle, you have that one person who comes and, you know, in your family circle, you have that one uncle who's always making jokes and fun and always laughing, this, that, you know, the easy one. Typically, those tend to become comedians, you know. So in my group, when I look back, I was the funny guy in my family circle, I was the funny guy in my friend circle. That's why when it came to comedy, and that's also when you do that, you learn to take jokes on yourself, you know.
So the first art is to be okay to take
Absolutely, because you see
jokes
most comedians on stage, they do a lot of self-deprecating jokes. They talk about their name, they talk about their body structure, they talk about whatever, you know. They talk about, you know, what insults they get from their wives and children and blah, this, that, and that's okay. You have to, you know, so people say, ये तो उसने सब अपने ऊपर ही मजाक कर लिया, अभी क्या बचा, you know, kind of thing.
That's the first art, being okay, being not insulted, I would say.
Take jokes on yourself,
mockery.
absolutely, absolutely.
But hecklers are, you do have people heckling you on stage, I'm sure, trying to stop your show. Has it happened?
Not trying to you know, you have to understand comedy in India is a very new scene. It's still around 11-12 years old. So what happens typically is that you get a lot of participative heckling. It's not heckling to pull you down or there, because see, if you like you go to the US, UK, I've seen, like when I was now in the US, I went to Austin to a comedy club, and then this guy was heckling, and you know, 4th time he started heckling, the guy came and told him, if you heckle once, we're going to throw you out.
He said that?
No, the bouncers came and told him very clearly, because what happened, see, nobody likes hecklers. So I'll tell you the rules of heckling. First of all, hecklers are usually drunk. They are people who have come from a very different place because they have just, suddenly they want attention in the room, okay. So they don't have a mic, so the mic is the comedian. Hecklers nobody likes, even the rest of the audience doesn't like. They have come to enjoy the show. You're not come to listen to your, you know, stupid thing just because you are drunk and want to make a point, you know. So usually nobody likes hecklers. So as a comedian, hecklers is, anyway, the crowd is against him. But in India, you don't that, because in America and all, the comedy has been there for 100 years. India is just a 11-12-year-old phenomena people are still, it's a lot of participative heckling where people still say, oh, nice joke, I like that. You know, they'll say these kind of things rather than trying to really put you down. But yeah.
Just a decade old?
12, 13 years old. I think comedy in India came in 2010. Stand-up comedy of our genre, English, where you stand up for something, you talk about, you know, social topics and, you know, but you always had mimicry, you always had these other forms of things from a long time. You heard Sri Johnny Liver and all doing for so many years, you know, but there was more mimicry kind of thing. You have different like you had political satirists, you had, but stand-up comedy, like this is very English, very American, British kind of thing, where you come up, one person going and talking about his life, talking about his marriage, you know, topics. That's just 13 years old in India.
We have a long way to go.
Oh yeah, long way to go. So it's like that. So you have to take the audience along with you. For example, I remember I was performing in Udaipur some few years back, and that was the first time, it was history creating, that Udaipur was having stand-up comedy ever. You know, first time ever a comedian, stand-up comedian is performing in Udaipur. Now I can go and do dark jokes, sex jokes, and heavy political jokes. No, that's an audience who's never seen comedy before. I don't want to scare them. कि भैया ये होती है comedy. चलो चलो, no. We will go and watch on TV whichever show comes. You know, yeah.
Because they come from a different paradigm, right? Their conditioning is different.
Their conditioning, they have never watched this before. They don't know sometimes how to react. Should we clap? Should we hoot? Should we? So sometimes we tell them, it's this comedy show, you can clap, you can do hoo-hoo, you can do this, you can that, you can laugh loudly and all that. But it's changing, it's changing.
Interesting to know that when you don't know how to respond because you're seeing it for the first time, right?
Like I'll tell you, first time we started doing comedy in NCPA. So NCPA, for people who don't know, is this huge theatre collective in South Bombay. Small theatres, there are big theatres also there. So NCPA is always used to sing plays. And in plays what happened is they usually gave a standing ovation. Now when we started doing comedy there, and those guys used to get up and give standing ovation, and we comedians are not used to standing ovation. Standing ovation.
That's amazing.
So we used to wonder, why are you standing up? We used to get out and they're all standing, and the guys are like, go back, they're giving a standing ovation. I said, Acha, okay, then go back and just, you know, bow down, thank you.
That's amazing, that's amazing. I feel that stand-up comedians play such a pivotal role in society because you all comment on social issues, stereotypes, all of that. But with what happened to Munawar, what happened to Veerdas, is it scary to be a comedian in India?
To be honest, yes. Today's time, it is scary. You don't know, because what happens is that, see, honestly, the people who are after you, they are not after you. You are just the flavor of the day or the flavor of the week, you know. It's some small, you know, relative of some big political party who wants to suddenly come on a national scene. So like what example happened in Munawar, I mean, if you said the name, I'll just say what I know of the facts is that some MLA's son or nephew wanted political mileage. He just turned up at a show with police and got him arrested. And what I know is that Munawar didn't even go on stage. He got him arrested for some things which he had already apologized, deleted those videos and things like that. They went and arrested him, so which he was put in the bar for, I think, for a month. He was in jail. And then he got bail, you know, and it was absolutely not a crime he did. He didn't even say any joke on that particular day. He didn't even go on stage. Before that only those guys came and arrested him. For what? I don't know. So, you know, so sometimes you have to be scared because you know where, you know, the attack can come from. Why? You suddenly don't even know why. There's an election coming, they want some political mileage. Like AIB roast when it happened like in 2014, that was, you know, it was happened in I think Feb or March. It was an election year. In I think April, May there was election, so it was a very heated election year, and then somebody said no, they have offended this community. Everybody became guardians of the galaxy and said, no, this is bad, this is wrong. Nobody really cared about anybody, you know, honestly. They just, everybody wanted political mileage. So sometimes you get scared that because of somebody's political vendetta, mileage, you should not get for a joke. And what happens today, they are even, you know, things are getting manipulated, you know. Like you see some of this, like some, if you say something today in a longer context, but somebody just cuts out that parts and put it up and say, look what he's saying, which they do a lot nowadays. Nowadays, you know, the people, I've heard political parties using artificial intelligence, deep fake, to change people's voice. Recently, these two wrestlers in India, who are, you know, who are basically standing up for their rights, you know, they were being jailed, and there was a picture of them smiling in while they're doing, and it was actually showing that, oh, they are laughing at the, but that was a deep fake, that was a altered AI image, you know, which later on was proved it was an altered image. But again, that's what is happening now. The rules are changing so fast, and these guys are using everything possible to get some kind of political value. Because you have to realize every 6 months there's some election happening somewhere in India, and everybody's just gearing up, just fighting for the election, and they're using us as pawns in that thing. So it's more of that actually, you know. India that way has, I don't think the crowd really has any problem in this. What has happened with, you know, like Munawar, or even I think Veer, you were mentioning about this two Indias thing. In fact, Veer in the news special has addressed that, you know, about how he was like the flavor of that week, and after 1 week everything just vanished. People forgot about him, you know, and moved on to the next topic, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how it happens, and you know, in India so many things happen, you know, like yesterday something happened in Maharashtra where the entire political coup happened. You know, people forget all the rest of the issues. Everybody's focusing on this issue. So it's, you are the flavor of the day, throughout the week. So I hope you just don't get caught in that for no, you know, actual reason. You know. And you have to see, you have to understand, as comedians, there are rules, regulations everywhere in the world. For example, if I perform in the UAE and all, there are some rules. I can't talk about Islam, I can't talk about the rulers, it's there. Like in India also, as per the constitution, you can't talk about the national emblem, the Ashok Chakra, you can't make fun on the flags. But of course you can make fun of political parties, which has been doing for years. Cartoonists, satirists have been doing. You can make fun of Bollywood, you can make fun of cricket. But if people start getting offended at everything, then you have to just go and give TED Talks, I think.
But why do you think people, was it like in the yesteryears also people used to feel offended?
The phone. It's the phone, because now you have access, you have everyday 4G data. I personally think it's that. So it's not only in India, it's happening everywhere in the world. Because earlier, just imagine if suppose the Prime Minister said something, you know, 20 years back, you have to write a letter, you know, take a piece of paper, start writing a letter. You don't know where to post it. You go to the post office, find the address of the Prime Minister if you knew where it is, send the letter. You don't know whether the letter will ever reach him or not, him or her, you know. But today people are there on, they have their valid, you know, verified accounts on Twitter, Instagram. Write a comment, right? Everybody's got 4G, 5G, connectivity, 2 GB data every day. Chalo, bhejo, everybody's got suddenly this device. I think the device has changed a lot, because now people are just getting offended and, you know, putting up on WhatsApp, on social media. So many things are there where you can vent it out. In a way good also, but in a way bad also. There's suddenly this
double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Comedians going abroad and sharing their perspective about India. What do you feel about that?
I think it's absolutely okay. It's absolutely okay. It's, I mean, see, again you have to understand, I think, are you referring to Veer's thing?
Yes, I want to know your opinion on what happened with Veer Das.
What he did was absolutely right. I mean, it was his thing. Anybody reading that, I didn't find anything wrong, but it was on that particular day, his thing got picked up. As he said, suddenly it hit like some 35 million views within 2 days. You know, and then it also vanished also that way. You know, he got that thing, he was termed a terrorist. So many states in India said he'll not be allowed to perform in our state and things like that. You know, how dare he talk about our country? But what he said, if you really just analyze what he said, I don't think there's anything, you know, derogatory which he spoke about India. He was just talking the truth. You know, if any woman in India feels that she's absolutely safe anywhere in India, I mean, I don't know, you know, is it right or no? You know, I don't know. So I think what he said was absolutely right, but he himself says, he was the flavor of that week, and he was sort of surprised also how it all just vanished. Yeah. Good for him, it vanished, but yeah. So I think people are okay. People, you know, are they want to hear good comedy, they want to hear a voice, and I mean that entire video has helped Veer so much, which he himself says. Suddenly he's got like 1.5, 2 million of followers he never had earlier. These young people who never know there was a Veer Das suddenly follow him, and the shows are getting sold out.
It's like having you know, without paying rent, you have your name in a person's mind, right? Like
yeah.
I also feel that in India we have a long way to go in really taking that jibe, right, when it comes to comedy, because sometimes when we, like, I have my friend who, and we try to be a little sassy with each other, we roast each other. She's sitting right in front of me right now. We're roasting each other all the time. But if I do the same thing with someone else, not everybody can take that. And we've spoken about this earlier also, right?
The person has to be comfortable with you. I think it depends from person to person, you know.
But has India evolved now? Or we have a long way to go when it comes to take
it could have evolved, but I think the social media and this, people are just getting too intolerant about everything, and you know, everybody's a voice. Like, can you imagine earlier a movie used to come out? I'm an old guy. A movie used to come out, you have to go and open a Times of India or some paper to see the review. Today on social media, bloody Friday 2 o'clock. The movie is released at 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock, by 2 o'clock in the hour. It was released last night in Dubai, you know, and there are like some 20,000 reviews. People have said, oh, I had wasted my 3 hours of my time, and you are bloody wasting 1 more hour writing this. You know, everybody's become a critic. You know, I have tweeted this every Friday, India creates like million new, you know, movie critics. You know, khane ka, you know. You go to a restaurant and people have written like volumes on their dosa and things. Hey, shut up, you don't like it, don't go again, you know. So it's just because, I think it's all because of the phone, it's the device which you have, it's your opinion which is going, which is right, you have an opinion, but I don't know.
How do you create a balance with being funny, but at the same time not offending anyone and being inclusive?
I think it comes with time. It comes with time. You have to be fairly aware of your crowd. You know, like I once recently performed in one of these gymkhana clubs. Ekdam Buddha audience tha, you know, very older audience, and I felt that, you know, sometimes they are not going to be ready for some kind of jokes. You know, you have not to, like, sometimes like somebody's come with her daughter-in-law, with her grandson. You know, grandson also is 18. He's not some kid, but a grandson and grandmother have come for the show. You don't want them to feel awkward at their show. They've come for a show because also maybe they're watching comedy for the first time. You know, they got a free entry because they're part of the gymkhana, so they all came there. But they are not really the comedy audience. But that also doesn't mean you give them what you want to say and then they'll say, "Arey, what the hell was this?" So you take them along. You know, you take them along. Then you can do very simple Sindhi, Marwadi, Punjabi joke, which you would never do on stage usually. You'll do all that. You know, you'll do some fun stuff, and you know, see that you. Very important to read the crowd. Gauge the audience. Absolutely.
I think as an MC, comedian, I think for every artist this is.
For singers for sure. If a singer goes on stage and starts singing indie songs, and there are these old people who come to listen, you know, covers of Kishore Kumar and Manna Dey and Mohammed Rafi, and he's singing all different, singing Hollywood songs, English songs. So guys wonder what they will start clapping unless they're really into that crowd. So it's very important to understand your crowd.
There was this one show where Bafida had to perform and he couldn't come or something, and then there was this English singer that was sent.
My God.
To this audience. And they're like, what is happening? It's so funny. And I'm like, oh my God, what is, I hope we don't get beaten up. Let's just go from here. So, the instant just came, you know. So let's talk about sex.
Wow.
We love sex.
Yes.
And your sexual jokes are like super funny, amazing, it's hilarious, I love it. I always wonder, how do you push these topics ahead? Because I feel they also help in making these topics less of a taboo in society. How do you go about with it?
So first of all, you know, if my show is for 18 plus audience or a 16 plus, I would say in today's context. Kids today, I think 14 plus also is okay, but I would still not push at 14. I would say 16 plus audience is good enough, because, you know, like my own children, I remember, like, I started out doing comedy. My elder daughter was like 17, younger was 15. And when you start doing comedy, you're in a room, you don't have an audience. So I remember making my wife and 2 daughters sit in the room, and I used to practice my set. And that, if you have to sometimes say the F word, you say F word, you talk about sex, I would say it. And my wife was like, what is wrong with you? Talking about sex and the F word in front of these girls. I said, listen, one is 17, one is 15. If they don't know these 2 words, it's time to change their school, right? Because, I mean, come on, let's be, you know, if they're studying in Mumbai in a good school, they better know these words by 15, 17, you know. So, I mean, so the point I'm going to tell you is that you have to be okay with it, number one. But, like, for example, I just did a show in London, I remember, and my show is 18. I talk about sex, I talk about whatever. It's not I talk about sex as a planned thing, it becomes a part of my set. You know, I give bad words, you know, and I talk about threesomes, I talk about orgies and this and that, everything. And there was this lady sitting, there was like 3-4 people sitting. And that lady who must be, I think, in her 40s, she came to me later on, she said, "Thank you, Mr. Khatri." I was sitting next to my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and I didn't know they like were laughing so much at that, made me so much at ease. Because if they would be quiet, they would be sitting and squirming, and then that conversation back home would have been very, very difficult. Like, what did you get us for? You know? And it was Father's Day, so she had got a father-in-law for my show, and her mother-in-law and some few relatives were there. But see, I don't do crass humor. You know, maybe initially as comedians you do crass humor. I would have done it in the past. Like I'm talking about like 8 years back. But now you understand. You know, even some like simple changing of the words itself can. You know, you need not say a body part. You can just say something else, and it will still mean that. You know, like my favorite thing for using the male member I always use in Indian country is bindi. You know. So, and people always laugh, you know, because rather than saying the P word, you
everybody back. Girls, the smile of your face.
Yeah, and you say fried bindi or whatever. You know,
fried bindi
is even worse. So I'm just going to tell you that it's okay. You understand where it's coming from, as long as it's not really crass humor. It's not, you know, filthy. It's not people start squirming, and that's something which I will also like. For example, I hate fart jokes. I just hate it. So I never do it on stage.
I'm still tripping on the bindi. I'm sorry. Okay.
So I hate fart jokes. I never do it on stage myself. So it's your own personal thing. You know, what you want to do, or you want.
What's your problem with fart?
I don't know. I just don't like it. I just find it, I don't like. I like any other comedian also doing fart jokes, excepting one George Carlin joke. Other than that, I have not found any funny. You know, I just feel it's disgusting. Just my personal opinion. So I also don't do that. You know, for example, I don't understand religion at all. I am Hindu, but I don't understand. I have not studied any religious text of my own Hinduism, of other religions to talk about. So I don't talk about religion. So you go on the internet, you won't find any religious joke. I don't understand it. So you have to be a fairly good expert. So I'm expert with my marriage with my wife for 30 years. I can do a lot of jokes on that.
I see. And it's what I love about your marriage jokes and about your wife and the dynamics you'll have is every time your content on marriage is fresh. I'm like, इस बंदे को fresh content हमेशा कैसे मिलता है?
Because once you go through 30 years of marriage, you're not married, right?
No.
Once you get married, once you get 30 years of marriage, then you'll see the amount of jokes which life throws at you.
I'll have a entertainer, stand-up comedian for life?
100%, you know. If not, at least the concept of marriage will get you a lot of jokes, at least 1 hour of material of jokes every day, you know. Every day something or the other happens and you wonder, my God, this is so funny, you know.
Tell us something funny that happened like a day or two ago.
So in this last trip, so I'll tell you, okay. So my wife says I have to buy. She has a group of 3 friends, and she says I have to buy some gift for them. Like whenever they also go abroad, they buy some gift for me. So throughout the trip, she's thinking what gift. Now last 2 days gifts, she's saying, you know what? I'll go and buy lingerie, okay, for all of them, because that's something which is useful. So I said okay. So she takes me to a shop. We go to Victoria's Secret in a mall. She said, oh my God, Victoria's Secret. They'll love the. We go there. And she's picking up panties for them. Okay. First of all, she says, "I'll pick up matching panties." So I said, "Hello, how do you like? You're all decided on one day you're going to wear matching panties. So why are you wearing matching? It can be any other color." Then that's okay. Then she's buying panties. Suddenly she picks up. One of her friends' name is Aarti. She picks up and she's, "Hey, do you think this will fit Aarti?" Okay. And I said, "Listen, I don't know Aarti's size, you know," but she said it so innocently.
You started imagining Aarti?
No, forget that. No, when I'm going to see Aarti in my life, I'm going to just imagine
those panties.
So but this actually happened to me. She just very innocently, "Hey, do you think this will fit Aarti?" Like I know her size and Aarti's size just can't fit. "Do you think it will fit Aarti?" Like yes. I said, "No, I don't know Aarti's panty size."
You do have some great refreshing
content. This comes up every day, like in everyday conversations, something or other happens, and you know, it feels, you know.
I think I should get married, Atul.
Yeah, just to get jokes.
Right? Just to get the right jokes, right?
So funny guys, please. Yeah. LINCIA is single.
Yes. So we talk about inspiration in comedy, and we know where your inspiration comes from. One is your marriage. Any process that you follow to get more inspiration?
I do watch a lot of, I would say, other comedians, not to get inspired for writing jokes, like we don't copy jokes, but just like I have some favorite comedians, I just go and watch their set again and again, just the brilliance on how, on a small issue, they remove like 100 jokes. You know, like if you see Jerry Seinfeld, oh sorry, Jerry, I don't know, what's wrong with me?
Doesn't matter, it's okay, Jerry.
So, Jerry, he'll take a small thing and he'll just write some 200 jokes around it, you know, and you wonder how the hell could you get jokes from a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, you know. So that's the brilliance of sometimes watching a movie inspires me, you know, you're a good movie. Sometimes creatively you have to get inspired, and as I tell people, no, otherwise nothing else, you open up the Times of India, any newspaper in India, every day you will get like 5,000 material. Yeah. You know, India is such an amazing country, such a diverse country. There's so many religions. So there's Bollywood, there's cricket, there are politics. You know, and you'll just keep on. The kind of premises which they give you is like crazy. Umpteen, you know, premises you get every day, and then you can sit and make jokes on them. I remember at one time when earlier we used to just do that. We used to take the newspaper, just take headlines and then start writing jokes on that. You know? But the problem with those are they're very topical. They have a shelf life of just 15-20 days. You know, so when you're writing for a longer set and all that, you know, unless it's a very funny premise, then you can do it. Other thing which it has to make me laugh. Any joke, I think most comedians do that. When they write a joke, it has to make them laugh first, then anybody else. Only if they find it funny will they do it, because we've been doing it day in, day out. You know, so it becomes like a process for writing.
Yeah. What do you do when you go through this process of, I don't know how to be funny, or I have a creative block?
I think what helps for me is exercising. You know, that really helps. I don't drink too much. Because what happens when you exercise, so I know those days when I have to write. What I do is I go to a beach. I live close to Juhu Beach in Mumbai, so I walk on the beach. No phone, nothing. I leave the phone at home, because the phone is always, you know, there's beeping, some WhatsApp message. It's a constant, you know, interrupt driven thing. So I leave everything and I just walk on the beach for an hour or 2 hours, 1.5 hours, 10,000 steps, 15,000 steps, and that's where I can see a lot of ideas, creative things coming up. And I remember the last 1 hour I did was entirely in my head. Then I sat and wrote it down. So a lot of things are in your head. You find it funny, you expand it in your head, and see all that. You may find it funny, your wife may find it funny, your child may, but finally the crowd has to find it funny. And so I'll tell you, the process of a joke is you write it, you put it in your head. For me, it's I put it in my head and I write it on the laptop. More jokes come out. Then the best is to go and try it out. And when you try it out, after that same bit, if you do it like 8, 10 times, 15 times, 20 times, it starts chiseling then, you know, then you cut off things which are not working, you know, long premises won't work, so you cut off the premise, you come that and come up with a tight, you know, 5 minutes where. That's why you see most good comedians, they come up with a new special after a year and a half, 2 years. Okay, that means a 1 hour is taking roughly around 2 years or a year, let's say a year to write, which means you're getting 5 minutes per month, 5 to 12 is 60 minutes, right? So even if you get 5 minutes of great content every month, you're okay. You build it up, and then you come with
that much time.
Yeah. So write a good set.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Because see, when you're paying like $2,500, $3,000 to come and watch me, I better be funny. These are tried, tested jokes which have been tested in open mics, have been tested in rooms. Because when you're paying money, I want to make you laugh and go back. I can't coming there and, you know, riffing over there, trying out jokes. That's all you do in your open mics and your other things. But when you're on stage, you have a show, it has to be funny. That's what that's what I believe in. And that's what most comedians, that's why you see any comedian like Dave Chappelle or any of these big comedians abroad, like Veer and all, they have a show after. So what do? You write a show, you sort of test it, then you take it across. And while you're taking it across, you're chiseling it, you're adding new things. Some other comedians gives you some tags, sometimes somebody gives you some tags, you start putting up. Sometimes you've written a joke about politics, the political scenario changes. Throw the joke, put something else, you know. So it's like a lovely recipe, and then finally you come up with the end product. And that end product has to then, it has to stand the test of time for 1.5 to 2 years, you know. It cannot be a joke which people don't suddenly forget the premise only, you know. This happened, you'll say, "Yaar, ye to ho gaya, khatam ho gaya, let's move on." Right? Like my last special was about my experience on COVID. When I got COVID, a lot of part is on COVID. on me getting COVID and the funny stories around it, you know. Now that I can only continue for maybe September. That's it. But people say that, boss, now we want to forget COVID and move on with life. Let's talk something else. So that's it. So it's got over. COVID's got over now. My that set is I'm just performing in Australia in September, August. That'll be the end of it.
Then you have to come up with new content.
Already have started work on the new content and
that's a lot of hard work. So if we think that, you know, becoming a comedian is like,
oh no, it's hard work.
I can like, even listening to it, I'm like, my God, this hours of sitting as a writer.
No, and then going on and performing, and you don't get, it's like, for example, if I've written a new 10-minute bit and I have to go and perform, I have to perform it somewhere. So I'll call out some comedy club in Mumbai. I live in Mumbai, so I'll call up Habitat, for example, is a comedy club in Mumbai. I'll call up them, hey, can I get a 10-minute spot? And they may not have a spot. They'll say, okay guys, dude, come next Thursday, 10 o'clock, we have a spot for you, 10 minutes. So you wait for that next Thursday, go try that 10 minutes, it may work, it may not work. You know, that time there would be just 10 people in the audience on that day if it's raining a lot. So then again, you don't drop that bit, you again try it one more time and there are more people to just test it, you know, the sample size has to be more. You just keep on doing that, keeping that, and okay, this is working, put it here, add it to your bigger set. It's actually a lot of hard work. So
I've always wondered, are they close-knit, the comedy industry, or do you all have politics?
No, I don't think so there's any politics. I think it's just that people have become so busy, you know. Earlier what has happened is, unfortunately, earlier there used to be this concept of comedy clubs. I mean, everywhere there's a comedy club, in the green room. Today also there are some comedy clubs. But what has happened is a lot of like I do most of my shows in auditoriums. It's a solo show, so I'm traveling alone, you know. So typically don't get too much time to interact. But obviously we all have our close friends in the industry who you've been working with. For example, I used to work with East India Comedy earlier. It was a collective of 7 comedians. So those are very thick to me because I know them for so many years. We work together. So we keep on meeting. But also other, like just last Saturday I was performing, there was this comedian from Delhi, Gaurav, who came in. So I love to hang around with him backstage. You know, I love to do festivals because that's the time you meet other comedians and just talk and gossip and just masti. But I think I'm friends with everybody. Like I like to be friends with everybody.
It's easy, as in people do mentor. In your industry, there are comedians who would say amateur, I don't know whether amateur is the appropriate word, someone who's just starting off as a comedian, walks up to you or walks up to, say, a Jiveshu and says, hey, I need some mentoring. Are you all accessible? How does it work?
I think we are all accessible. Like, for example, I was just 2 days back, I was doing a show and there was this comedian doing like a 5-minute spot before me. So usually I ask him what that's story, what is it going to talk about? It should not be repetitive. Suppose he talks about airline travel a lot, it's in his 5 minutes, and I also have a 30 minutes on airline travel. The audience will think, boss, everybody's still talking about airline travel is the flavor of the day, but why is everybody talking about airline travel? There are other topics to talk about also. So I just usually ask him. So then while talking to him, he said, yes sir, I'm doing 5 minutes, these jokes, and 3 minutes I'm trying today for the first time. So I said, hello, don't try 3 minutes new jokes in front of this, my audience, you know. Do your tested 5 minutes of jokes, because why are you trying new jokes in a room of 700 people? Do your old tested jokes, because you have to basically, you're going as an opening act. Anyway, you are going to get the hit because at that time people are settling in, you know, lights are still on, they're not off and things like that. So I said, just do your strong 5 minutes and get out, you know, and don't try new stuff and this and that. So, and he really liked the idea and it worked for him, you know. Because new jokes, he's got funny, he's written 2 days back. Whether it's funny to the audience or not, I don't want him in this 5 minutes big, 3 minutes new jokes will bomb. Poor guy will start rattling on stage, you know. So you try to give this kind of little bit, you know, tips, I would say. Honestly, we are all learning, so I have no really authority to say, oh, I'm a mentor or things like that. I just have 11 years. No, you can't, I don't think you can teach anybody stand-up comedy. You can teach something called as creative writing. You know, there are courses where some of the comedians used to take it. One of my friends, Anubhav Pal, he used to take this course. He's a comedian, great comedian. He used to take sessions on creative writing. But stand-up comedy is a performance, because a stand-up comedy is nothing but writing plus your performance on stage. So sometimes your writing can be weak, but you can overcome it by great performance on stage, you know. I mean, I know many comedians who do that. On paper, when they have read the joke, I said, it's a stupid joke. But the way he has sold it on stage is amazing. But there are some people who are bad performers, but their writing is so strong that they can be standing one-liners, you know, like Mitch Hedberg, just Google him. he's one of those guys. He was not a performer. He just come on stage. He used not even look at the audience. He used to, I think he used to be drunk or drugged or whatever. That's what you say. He passed away. He's a legendary comedian. So just wear goggles, just look down and just deliver one-liners and brilliant. Like you can't find one fault and not one word out of the place. That was his writing. Crisp writing, beautiful writing. So it's, you know, it's writing and performance both.
Wow.
So that's what stand-up is. So nobody can teach you stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is, you have a good set, you write it, go on stage day in, day out, you know, practice, practice, practice. The more you get on stage, the more you will get comfortable with the audience. The more you'll, you know, own the stage.
Didn't know all these different facets, quite new for me, and I have a newfound, I've always respected comedians because I've always felt you'll have to be fearless to, you know, take on the audience. And there's a newfound respect for you all. I've always wanted to ask, and I've got like a couple of messages on Instagram. I told them that I am interviewing a stand-up comedian.
Oh, wow.
Is there a question that you want to ask? And one of the questions I wanted to ask, who pays on the first date? Is it a boy or a girl?
First date, I don't know about other people. I would usually offer to pay. Okay, I would usually offer to pay. Even though I'm a Sindhi, I would usually offer to pay because I think it's just chivalrous. But yeah, but if the woman decides, okay, no, we have to split the bill equally. She doesn't want to take any wrong, you know, wrong signal by saying that okay, you take the date, and it's okay to split the date also. I think the times have changed. I'm an old guy. I dated like, last I dated was 32 years back with my wife only.
One girlfriend.
One girlfriend only, my wife only. So the thing is that
I thought I'd get masala.
I think I paid. I think I paid. Yeah.
You paid. You paid.
I paid.
I feel that whoever asks for the date, they should pay.
Why not?
That's
maybe,
what I feel.
Maybe. But you can also set it right in the beginning. Like my daughter also, like she went on a date some time back, and with the first time she was meeting this guy, and she herself told me, no, I will not let you pay, we'll go Dutch. And they went Dutch, like, so like, you know, they split the bill because she didn't want, or he both didn't want to give each other kind of a thing that, okay, I'm paying, there's the obligation kind of thing, you know. Today women are earning here, so it's okay.
Atul, I want to share something with you. Don't judge me for that.
No.
So whenever I go on a date and if I don't like the guy, I'm like, I don't like you, I'm going to pay.
You're going to pay.
I'm going to pay because I don't like you.
You say I don't like you? Oh,
no, no, that's like, you know, no, I pay. I don't say I don't like you. I don't say that. Come on. I'm a little chivalrous too. So, but if I do like the guy, I'm like, okay, then I want.
So yeah, that way, okay, this time you pay, next time I pay.
Yeah.
So it's like you are taking it. It's like an improv thing. You're taking it. It's not like a comedy. Give the punch and get out. You pay.
Yeah. I always feel that when you're performing in India and you're performing, say, internationally, I've observed this when I'm doing shows abroad. Audience preferences when it comes to comedy, their understanding, their paradigms would be very different.
So there are two things. One is performing to an Indian audience abroad.
Yeah.
So suppose I did my show recently, so I got like most of my audience is Indian because they are your fans, they want to hear. So those audiences, honestly, I feel are much more easier than the audiences here in Mumbai. Okay, because first of all, those guys get not too much of comedy happening in there. You know, they must be watching 2-3 shows a year because we don't go there very often nowadays. So every week there's a comedian going abroad. That's a different story. But initially it was not the case, and they want to hear India stories. They want you to say like BC, MC.
Yeah.
They want to say, if you just say the word pav bhaji and they'll clap, you say vada pav, and say, sir, thank you for saying vada pav. And say, it's like, no sir, Maharashtra vada pav. Like, you know, I say, relax. You know, I didn't think of it from that point of, you know, thing. But there they are very, they want to hear a little bit of Hindi, they want to talk nostalgia. You're bringing the country to them, getting India to them, the stories of India to them there. Some of them have gone recently, some of them not come to India for 2-3 years, so they want to hear the stories. But what happens when you're performing to a white audience or a global audience, you know, so there the challenges are different. Number one, your accent has to be, so right now the English at the speed at which you're speaking, suppose a guy from Amsterdam would be here, he wouldn't understand a bit even though he understands English.
Seriously?
Because we are too fast for him.
What? I thought they were fast.
No. And in Europe and all, because see what happens, you have to understand, our accent is not Americanized accent. So most of these guys like to hear Americanized accent because as the movies they've seen, maybe that's how they speak. So you have to be a little slow, number one. Sometimes the choice of words. Like for example, if I ask over here, what's the drinking age limit in Mumbai? So you would know it's like 25. In Mumbai, by the way, it's 25, it's not 18.
Oh, it's changed? Okay.
But if the word drinking age limit, if I say to a person in Europe, he will not understand the construct of the okay, what do you mean drinking age limit? So then you have to rephrase it. At what age are you allowed to start drinking? It's just rephrasing. They don't understand the drinking age limit. That word, its construct, they don't understand. In the choice of words have to be different. And I've learnt it sometimes the hard way. For example, if you say pawn, okay, you understand P-O-R-N. For them, it's P-A-W-N. For them, pawn is pawn. You have to roll the R a little bit. Because once I talked about pawn, and this guy came, why are you talking about chess? I said, dude, it's not chess, I'm talking about pawn. He said, oh no, that's why I didn't get the joke. So it was like that, because in his construct, he was thinking, I'm talking about P-A-W-N, chess ka pawn. So just the words and things like that. Also where you perform, like in America, they understand a lot of us because they work with. So if I perform in Google office in America, where it's full of Indians and Americans, they'll understand because they are talking to Indians every day. They understand the accent, they've learnt it, But if you're performing in Amsterdam, where the interaction is not too much with Indians maybe, so then, but they understand English, but it's just that how, so you have to play that very, properly, You have to go slightly slower. So sometimes like for me, when I'm on stage, I have a lot of energy because I speak fast. But like recently, I got a feedback when I was in Europe. The guy said, dude, you're going too fast, go slow, people are not understanding you. The organizer came and told me, and then I'm trying to realize, yeah, they were right. I was just too excited. I had a sold out show. I was just going very fast and all. And they were like, I was jumping over my own jokes. And after the second show, I just slowed down a bit. And I was also enjoying, they were also enjoying. These small bits, things you change a little bit.
Seems like a lot of work.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of work.
There's so much of research in this. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like performing is another art, and writing for that performance
and then while you're performing, you're thinking of what's happening
on your feet.
While you're on your toes, you're like thinking, okay, what is happening? Like I have one wrong word on, like sometimes it happens like you go on stage, you think I'll make this joke, and then you just alienate the audience. You said something, but it sounded very maybe derogatory, and the audience says, we're not going to laugh at you now, don't get lost. You have unnecessary, something you said a wrong word.
So Atul, last question.
Okay.
What can we expect from Atul in the next 1 year? What's going to happen?
So as a comedian, you try to always write something better. You challenge yourself more than what you have done last. So I was very happy with my last set. I took it around the world. I'm taking it to Australia in September and October now. But now next set you want to write something more better than that, something you challenge yourself, something more deeper. Obviously my also jokes have, as you said, I try to talk a lot about small social things, political I throw in here and there. I just enjoy doing that. So plus with your splice of your life. So I'm going to do that, write better. There's something which I want to do. I'm a Sindhi, and I want to write something. That's my wish list. It's on my bucket list to write a 1 hour set on Sindhi history and culture. Basically using comedy as a tool, but not making fun obviously of the culture or the history, but trying to get more young Sindhi kids out to know about your culture. A lot of people have forgotten because we lost our land, so now we are like nomads. Not really nomads, now we are global citizens actually, I call them. So, so the thing is that that's my thing. So I'm working on that. That's a separate project I'm working on. But I think initially next, I think maybe within 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, I should be like, on the street again, back with a new set and things like that. Yeah.
Sounds so cool.
Yes, and obviously we'll meet on corporate shows.
Yes.
And now next time we meet, we have to sit after the show.
Yes.
Have a coffee and
Is that going to happen, Atul?
Because you are so busy.
You are busy. You stole my line.
I 30 minutes I do my set and go away. She's on stage for 4 hours. Yeah.
But it was so much fun. I absolutely loved you on this podcast.
Thank you so
just
much,
like
Lincia.
your set, just like your jokes. Amazing. I had a ball of a time. And do you want to say something to?
That's it. Come and support stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is a new art form. pretty new. It's around a 12-year-old art form. Please come and support comedians by coming and watching live comedy. I know you can watch it on WhatsApp, on YouTube, on OTT platforms, but nothing like a live comedy show. The same set you'll watch on WhatsApp, same set you'll watch in a live environment. We'll just enjoy it, 100 times fold. So come and watch, and also keep on following Lincia's work. With amazing work she's doing. Yeah.
Keep on following both of us.
Yes.
Give us more followers.
And call me for your marriage, okay?
Yeah.
No.
You're hooking me up with a comedian.
You said funny guy. That's why I said any comedians there, Lincia.
Yeah. You're going to be my wingman.
Yeah, of course.
But thank you so much. I loved this podcast just the way I did the other podcast. If you're liking it, go ahead, do like, subscribe, and tell me.
And share.
And share, yes, very important, share. And do tell me who's the next guest that you would like to have. Thank you, and see you on the next podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.